Right, good day everyone, or good evening, and welcome to the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. So recently I received a message asking about the gloves that I wear. When it's generally colder, I wear the Richa Cold Protect GTX gloves. I can't remember off the top of the head how much I paid for these. I think I paid about £90 for them. At the time of research, these were, if I'm going to put up to the camera now, one sec, these here. These were the best rated gloves on the market as far as all these review sites said. I checked all sorts of tests for them. Tests where they've been dunked in water for 5 minutes and ice cold water for 5 minutes. The wind chill factor, the fact that you can't feel in it, blah blah blah, and all of it sounded amazing. Well, I can tell you now, after using them for, I don't know, maybe 9 months, then it's a load of bollocks. I put these gloves on about 5 minutes ago. It's chilly at the moment. It's probably about 5-6 degrees, something like that. Wind chill, it may be closer to, I don't know, 1 degree, maybe 0. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, my hands were warm when I put them in. The gloves were somewhat warm, and my hands stayed toasty for about a minute. Now the backs of my hands are starting to get cold already. As far as waterproofness goes, they are all of it's all Gore-Tex, and parts of it, I think parts of it have got leather on it, or I don't know. It's not as waterproof as they make out. They said that it was tested in the water for 5 minutes in ice cold water, and no water was let in. Well, I've been in rain for maybe 15 minutes, and my hands have stayed dry. But I can feel the fact that the gloves are starting to soak in water. The longest I've probably stayed in rain in them, and this is cold weather, and so it's going to be bloody cold rain, is probably around 45 minutes, maybe an hour. After around 25 minutes, half an hour in standard rain, not the really light stuff or stupidly heavy, just ordinary rain, these were wet through to my skin. The gloves get very heavy, so no, they're not as waterproof as they say that they are, which in a way has kind of pissed me off. In fact, it pissed me off something chronic when my hands first got wet, because they were rated to be apparently one of the best on the market for winter riding, and that's what I bought them for. I bought them just before New Year, I think, because my hands were bloody freezing on this scooter. The heater grips died on it, and my hands just got so cold, it is unreal. So I bought them after weeks and weeks of research and looking into what the best sort of winter gloves were that weren't heated, that were less than £120, and apparently it happened to be these. But that may be true in test scenarios, in test conditions where they're actually testing it in a bucket and timing it while, but in real life usage, no, they are not the warmest gloves about, and they are far from the most waterproof about. So I've got 3 sets of gloves. I've got one set which I can't actually think of the make of them. They're a motocross set, very very thin, plenty of protection, but they're very thin for summer, and they just purely let in wind to keep my hands cool. And then I've got another set which are, I think the brand's called Waze or however you pronounce it. I'm not sure the make of them, but I use them more for when it's a hot day, but I know I'm going to be travelling at 50-60 mile an hour most of the day, a bit more long distance when it's warm. And then I've got these, which were supposed to be my cold wet weather winter gloves, and yeah, I am disappointed in them. I mean, this is a long-term review of them. I've probably put around, I don't know, probably around 10,000 miles through these gloves, maybe a little bit less or a little bit more. I can't be exact. So yeah, as far as winter gloves, would I recommend them? No. No, for the fact that they're not as waterproof as they're stated or advertised or even reviewed by people like MCN and all these motorcycle websites. That no, they are far from as waterproof as people say they are. And the reviews that people leave saying they're the best gloves ever, that they've not let a drop in, I think then people are in denial because they've spent a certain amount of money on a pair of gloves. that they feel that they've got to back them pair of gloves up, that they've convinced themselves that them gloves are fantastic because they've spent over 100 quid on a pair of gloves. But honestly, no, that is not the case. They're not the most perfect winter gloves. At best, I would say a bit of a chilly summer day or a chilly sort of spring day, dry day, they are perfect for. But now I have been wearing these since I started talking, so I don't know, 10 minutes, 7 minutes or something since I started riding. And my fingertips are absolutely freezing. My hands are cold. They're not freezing, but my hands are cold, but my fingertips are freezing. Another 10 minutes, they're going to start hurting. Another thing that I don't like about these gloves, if you know, it probably would have been better to actually do this review in the daytime. But another thing that I don't like about these gloves is the wrist strap. With my summer gloves and my Waze gloves, when I put it doesn't matter how much I tighten the cuff up, as soon as I tighten the wrist strap up, them gloves are not coming off. You can pull them as much as you want, they will not slide off of your wrist, and they're comfortable. These, you can tighten these up to the point where your wrists are hurting, yet they'll still just slide off of your hands, regardless of what size you've got, because they just don't tighten around your wrist properly. It seems to tighten around the outside of the glove, rather than centrally inside around your wrist. So in the case that, I believe if I came off of this bike for a reason I was sliding and I put my hand out, the palm of my hand, I think these gloves will just slide straight off. I honestly don't know. And yeah, I am a bit wary when I'm wearing them. So yeah, there's not really much else to say about the gloves. Yeah, they are very comfy, and when it's not a bitter wind outside or it's not raining, yeah, they're quite toasty, they're quite nice. But as far as a wet winter glove goes, no, I wouldn't recommend them at all. I have been considering getting a pair of the Held Freezer 2 gloves. They're a leather glove, they're a Gore-Tex as well. And I tried a pair of some of my friends on, and they are so comfortable and they feel so warm. He swears by them and says that they don't let water, and the only time that water gets into them is if you're wearing the cuff on the outside of your jacket, and for any reason your jacket's not as waterproof as it should be, water can leak in that way. He said apart from that, he goes, no water's ever really leaked in. He very, very rarely feels... That was my little sister I just saw there. He very rarely feels any wind on his hands. I suppose that may be because it's leather. I honestly don't know. So I have been considering a pair of gloves, and that is a question that I wanted to put out there to all of you lot. I'm not fussed about price. I don't want electric gloves, and I want a pair of gloves where I can actually still feel the bike. I still want to be able to touch the handlebars and know I'm touching them. I don't want them to be that thick that I can't feel nothing. I want to buy the best pair of waterproof winter gloves possible, the absolute best pair, something that's going to keep my hands so warm on the outside and on the inside. I mean, if they're going to cost me 200 quid, I honestly really don't care. I just want my hands to be toasty and warm, because it's starting to get bitter now, and it's only going to get worse through the winter, and I ride all year long. And when I'm on this bike, or even when I'll be on the XVS, I'll be carrying a couple of pairs of gloves most of the time with me anyway. So that's a bit of a question out there to you, some of you seasoned vets out there that ride all season long. And as I say, I'm not fussed about price. I want the absolute best guaranteed pair of gloves that I could possibly afford to buy. They've got to be warm, they've got to be 100% waterproof, they've got to be somewhat windproof. Well, they've definitely got to be windproof, and they've got to have a decent amount of protection on it. Right guys, if you did like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you want to see any more of the videos, click on channel and click videos, and they're all there. Right, take care all, have a good day and ride safe.